Right up! Right! Mark up! Girls up! Sound the advance!
The troops are marching on to the 1st Recruit Training Battalion Regimental Parade Ground, led by the 1st Recruit Training Battalion Band, commanded by Captain Walker. The history of Kapooka dates back to the Second World War, when it was a training camp for Army engineers. Following the war, it was used as a migrant camp until the outbreak of the Korean War. During this period, 2 recruit training battalions were established. This was later reduced to 1. The present Blamey barracks were completed in 1966. With the exception of apprentices and officer cadets, all Army recruits come to Kapooka. The course at Kapooka spans 13 weeks and is designed to instruct recruits in the basic skills required to prepare them for their next phase of training. This parade marks the completion of their induction into the Army. The Parade Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer Costello, will now hand over to the Parade Commander, Captain Maddock, who will post the platoon commanders and march on to the Governor-General's banner.
Arms to the banner! Resign! Arms! Raise! Shoulder! Up! Raise! Order! Up! Raise! Stand up! Hey!
On the left of you, as you look, is 4 Platoon, commanded by Lieutenant Healy, Royal Australian Artillery. The platoon sergeant is Sergeant Streets, Royal Australian Artillery. Section commanders are Corporal Pearce, Royal Australian Signals, Corporal Tennick, Royal Australian Engineers, and Corporal King, Australian Army Aid Catering Corps. On the right as you look is 5 Platoon, commanded by Lieutenant Raggett, Royal Australian Infantry. The platoon sergeant is Sergeant Streak, Royal Australian Corps Military Police. Section commanders are Corporal Powell, Royal Australian Army Medical Corps, Corporal Royal, Royal Australian Corps of Transport, Corporal Ward, Royal Australian Army Ordnance Corps, and Corporal Harridan, Royal Australian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers.
Raise! Attention! Up!
The host officer, Major Smith, officer commanding A Company, is now arriving.
Raise! Shoulder! Up!
The reviewing officer, Colonel Herford, Commandant of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion, is now arriving. reviewing officer, Colonel Herford, accompanied by Major Smith and the Regimental Duty Warrant Officer Class 2 Kirk, will now inspect the troops on parade.
trophy winners, all out.
The reviewing officer will now present trophies to the most outstanding soldier, the best at physical training, and the best rifle shot of each platoon. The best at physical training and winner of the Physical Efficiency Prize of 4 Platoon is Private Seru Takana, Royal Australian Infantry. The best rifle shot and winner of the Skilled Arms Prize of 4 Platoon is Private Middleton, Royal Australian Army Ordnance Corps. The most outstanding soldier of 4 Platoon is Private Giuliani, Australian Army Catering Corps. The best at physical training and winner of the Physical Efficiency Prize of 5 Platoon is Gunner Lindsay, Royal Australian Artillery. The best rifle shot and winner of the Skilled Arms Prize of 5 Platoon is Private Rickard, Royal Australian Corps of Transport. most outstanding soldier of 5 Platoon is Craftsman Stasinowski, Royal Australian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. The next presentation is for the most improved recruit of 4 Platoon. The plaque is presented to Private Alice, Royal Australian Infantry. The presentation will be made by the President of the local Vietnam Veterans Association, Mr. Max Leithlin of the Vietnam Veterans Association. Private Alice is the first recruit to receive this award, as the association with 4 Platoon and the Vietnam Veterans is a recent one. The award is not given lightly. The next trophy to be presented is the Falling Plate Trophy. It is presented to 1, 2 and 3 sections of 4 Platoon. It is awarded to a section which achieves an above average standard of shooting at the completion of the challenge.
Parade rest. Soldiers on parade, band of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I welcome all to the Marchout Parade of 4 and 5 Platoon. I'd like to make a special comment this morning on a number of things. The first one is that I would like to especially welcome to the parade members of the Riverina Vietnam Legion, who very graciously has accepted a sponsorship of 4 Platoon and who this morning presented a plaque to the most improved soldier of 4 Platoon. It is a very significant situation that we have at Kapooka with young men who are becoming soldiers and who are our future. And it is important that they understand the heritage that they are about to embrace. There are a number of organisations in our society who have been part of what we know as the legend of the Aussie Digger. The Vietnam veterans are part of that legend, and through their sponsorship impart that heritage to those platoons. And so I thank the Legion very much this morning for coming out. It's not the best morning we could have turned on, but it does look a little bit like Vietnam actually. And thank you very sincerely for the effort that you are putting in to 4 Platoon, and thank you for your presentation this morning. I'd also like to add a comment to the trophy that was awarded to Corporal Royal. Corporal Royal, of his own initiative, organised within the Kapooka military area a competition which was conducted between the recruit companies, which resulted in the raising of more than $4,000 in a matter of 3 hours for the chapel appeal. He didn't have to do it. It's certainly not part of his job statement. But like all good NCOs, he got on with the job that he saw that had to be done. And as I said, it was through his own initiative that he went and raised that money. And I guess it would be easy for me to say that if everybody did the same, our chapel funds would be overflowing and our chapel would be built tomorrow. But it is that sort of work that needs to be recognised, because it does take the own time to get it organised, and a little bit of effort, a little bit of imagination. And Corporal Royal has achieved a great deal in the amount of work that he has done. So my personal congratulations, and the congratulations of the trustees and all on the committee of the Chapel Appeal, and say thank you very much indeed. And the statuette we have given you, which has in fact been manufactured entirely by Padre MacDonald, will be awarded to anybody who can in fact raise more than $1,000. So you are the first recipient. Congratulations, well done. To the soldiers on parade, your parade this morning has been good. The elements have been against you. It certainly isn't the warmest morning that I've been on parade, and it certainly isn't the driest, although I would have to say it's certainly not the wettest. Your dress in particular was very good indeed, and you have turned out in fine style. And overall your parade has been very good. Well done. And the band, well, a parade is not a parade without the band, and you again today have provided excellent music for the parade. And not only today, your efforts are appreciated, but throughout the weeks, as each platoon comes towards its graduation day, and so your assistance is most important, and the effort that goes into the rehearsals and the practices is well and truly appreciated, certainly by me, and I know by the platoons who are participating. Thank you for your efforts today again. Well done. I'd like to address a few remarks to the spectators who have so graciously come to Kapooka today. What you see on the parade is the result, in most cases, of 13 weeks of pretty tough training. The training has been demanding, it's been challenging, and I don't make any excuses or apologies for that, because soldiering is a demanding business. And if it is a demanding business, we need demanding training. And that training has to be to the highest possible standards that we can achieve. Your young man has in fact achieved that today. But he hasn't achieved it without your support, because I know that there are some on parade there today who would not be there had it not been for your support. And I think that your presence here today also indicates further, or in a tangible way, your support that you have given them. I know the sorts of letters and the telephone calls that you would have received. I get them myself sometimes. And I can understand how frustrating or how worrying it can be at times when you are so remote from Kapooka, wondering what is going on. Well, the results prove themselves and they stand before you. As I said, it is with your assistance that they got to where they are today. And on behalf of all the staff of the KMA, I thank you for that support. These young men go into their specialist training for the corps that they've been allocated to. They will find that that training is also demanding, and for some, rather tough. And your support is going to be required there yet again. These young men have demonstrated that they can in fact overcome some of those problems, and they have achieved a great deal. But they won't achieve anything unless you continue your support, and I know you'll give it to them. I should also add that these young men are joining a defence force that doesn't sit by idly doing nothing, It's a defence force that is out there doing what it's required to do, ever vigilant and ever ready to do whatever the government asks us to do. And I think that's been adequately demonstrated, particularly in the last 12 months, of the responsiveness of various elements of the Defence Force. But you would also be aware that we have soldiers and sailors and airmen stationed overseas, participating in peacekeeping operations, participating in humanitarian type operations, particularly right now in southern Turkey and northern Iraq. And all over the world, we represent the Australian population as their defence force. And not only will you see us there, but you'll see us on the fields where there are floods, where there has been damage from storms and cyclones. And again, whatever the task may be, the soldiers will be there to do what they're supposed to be doing. And so I can assure you that the Defence Force that these young men join is one that is dynamic, energetic, forever facing challenges. But I can also assure you, forever overcoming those challenges. And the recent announcements by the government will have little or no effect in the immediate term for these young men, because they will go out and do what they have been trained to do. And I would ask that your support that you have given here is also given to the Defence Force, and that your Defence Force, the dollar that is spent on your behalf, is being well spent, I can assure you. I would ask that if you have enjoyed what we have done at Kapooka with your son, with your man, then I would express those feelings to a letter to the Minister for Defence. He needs to know. You need to tell him. We need to understand what goes on at Kapooka and what we are really achieving. On the other hand, if you have any complaints, would you please see me? I'll certainly listen. I'm not quite sure what I'll do about it. To the soldiers on parade, the step that you have taken at Kapooka is probably the most significant step in your life. And you will realise what I've been saying about the demanding training. But you now realise that all those problems now fade into insignificance, and you have demonstrated that you are able to overcome them and get on and do the job. I can assure you, as you already know, you have achieved a great deal. Not only have you learnt the basic skills of the soldier on the battlefield, and you know what those skills are of weapons and drill and PT and so on, but you have also been going through a process that has now given you a very high sense of discipline, a high sense of confidence, a great sense of loyalty. And if you put all that together, I now believe that you possess a great deal of self-esteem, probably to a level that you've never experienced before. You have been able to overcome all that we've put in front of you and all the tasks that we have given you. And so you stand rightly and proudly on parade today. Your next step is not going to be easy. You are going to have to give it 100% like you have given it here. And I should remind you that as soldiers we never give anything less than 100%. When you go to your IET, continue to work hard. Remember the standards that you have set here at Kapooka for yourself. Remember the discipline you've embraced. Remember the mates that you have made. And go to your IET training and continue to do very well. I know you can, and I know you will. When you came to Kapooka, what now seems an eternity ago, I spoke to you and I told you that there was only one guarantee that I ever give soldiers at Kapooka. And that guarantee was that when you stood on the parade today, that you would feel 10 feet tall and the hair on the back of your neck would stand up. I certainly hope that's the case. you now rightly wear the hat of the Australian soldier, the slouch hat. Wear it proudly wherever you go, no matter what you do. Don't ever be found wanting, particularly in your own personal standards. Congratulations again for your performance at Kapooka. You have done well and achieved well. Good luck in your schools, good luck in your soldiering of the future. And Digger, welcome to the Regular Army.
The troops marching off parade will join you shortly. Refreshments and a light luncheon will be served to families and friends of the recruits in the Edmondson Club, which is located on the hill at the southern end of Kapooka Drive. On your way to the car park, you are requested not to walk on the parade ground. Thank you and good morning.